Welcome to the IGH Going Rogue. Today is Tuesday, February the 4th, and we have a great guest today. We're going to be talking about, these anti-ICE protests that are happening mainly in L.A., and talk about the inauguration. This person was, I think, every single inaugural party, his experience. He was a political operative, part of the campaign, was one of the key elements that delivered Nevada for the president and flipped Nevada for the first time in a long time. His name is Jesus Marquez, good friend, political analyst, consultant, commentator, operative, and just all around a goddamn stud, man. Welcome to the show, Jesus. It's always a pleasure to have you. Always a good time talking to you and having you share your experience, knowledge, especially with the Hispanic community. That is so important. You did a kick-ass job in this campaign. I think everybody thanks you. The entire country does. The president, I'm sure, does. We would have never been able to win if it wasn't for the Hispanic vote that did that historic shift, and you were key to that movement. So thank you and welcome to the show.
Hey, Ivan, thank you very much for that introduction. I'm humble about it, and I'm very grateful, too. And yes, we won. We won big, and we did it with the Latino vote, the Hispanics. They came out in droves to vote for Donald Trump. So when you see this, this protest that's going out there, for a fact that that's not the heart of the Latino community. Yes, there are some out there protesting, but the reality is that more Hispanics, more Latinos voted for Donald Trump than ever before. This is the first Republican candidate that became a president that won not 40, but 45% of the Latino vote. That is huge, more than Bush did back, about 20 years ago. And we flipped Nevada. I was one of the states that we were able to flip in favor of Donald Trump. It was great. It's awesome. And by the way, you were also part of it. So don't be too shy.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm saying behind the scenes on that argument, there will be a time to talk about that and that effort that was done previous to that. And there'll be a moment to talk about what's coming. So, it's, we got to hold our cards close to the vest, my friend, as you know, and we're doing that, working expeditiously to have some very, very exciting breaking news very soon. But, one of the things that I want to talk to you about is we talked a little bit about offline, and there's several. Because, something that you mentioned that I think is very important for our, American or our Anglo audience to understand, right? And I'm sure it pisses you off because it pisses me off. And, just so you know, the tagline of the show is truth bombs, F-bombs, no bullshit, so let's fucking go, right? So there's no filters here. You can say whatever the hell you want. And, and I usually do, right? Those fucking people in the streets of LA that are protesting ICE, that are protesting the President of the United States, that are protesting Tom Homan, that are protesting Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, Pam Bondi, everybody that we have do not represent the Hispanic community in the United States. They do not. And I'm just going to emphasize a little bit more, is the highest president that obtained the highest number of Hispanic vote was Ronald Reagan in 1984 with 40%, and George W. Bush in 2004 with also 40%. And Donald Trump got 46% of the Hispanic vote. Not only is that important that he was able to reach such a huge percentage, but also, you got to understand that back then they represented, 5, 11%. Now they represent 20%. Hispanics, we represent 20% of the voting electorate, So, and that's going to continue to grow and grow and grow. So, it's very important, the job that has to be done with the Hispanic community to make sure that they don't fall back. We understand there's some rumors out there that George Soros is going to commit $250 million in the midterms to win back the Hispanic vote. So we need to work our ass off. We need to work our ass off and make sure that doesn't happen, that we not only hold the 46, but push it to 56. That's the real number where we believe is the real par, right? We just got to get our message out, and we haven't been able to do that as effectively as we could have. But it's going to be very interesting. So the people that are out there protesting, they don't represent the majority of Hispanics. Yeah. Many of them actually might even be illegal, but it's amazing that they can get away with that, in LA. Like I said in my show yesterday, I said, paging Tom Homan, go to LA and round these fuckers up, right? It's going to be a matter of time before he does, yeah. Right? And, and he's going after the criminal element. He's going after Trinidad. He's going after, MS-13 and other people. And we saw that awesome job that Marco Rubio did, our friend, down in Panama. That was amazing. And then with Bukele in El Salvador, Bukele is going to start accepting criminals, deportees from the United States that are not even Salvadorian. Imagine that. I mean, that is a huge win. But tell us a little bit about the work that you did with the campaign. How did you guys flip Nevada? How did you? And I know you work, so your heritage is Mexican. So, I remember when we spoke, there are very few people, probably nobody in the country that understands that segment of the Hispanic population better than you do, right? And they're in California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, right? Talk to us about that.
Sure, absolutely. But before I go there, you were absolutely right when you say that the people out there protesting, they don't represent the vast majority of Latinos here in the United States. These anti-ICE protests, they're not anti-ICE, they're anti-USA, because if you notice, they have all foreign countries' flags. They're not even waving or flying our flag.
That's right.
So that just tells you a lot, about these protests. By the way, a lot of the folks that are in this protest may have good intentions, but the problem is that they were lied to. They believe the big lie that Donald Trump is going out there rounding up families and taking children apart and going into the schools to deport those. No. Donald Trump put the order in for his team to deport the criminals first. So what's wrong with that? Why would you be opposing deporting the criminals, the ones that you mentioned, all these big name organizations that are here harming people, harming other Americans, and also not just them, but also the people that have deportation orders.
That's right.
Fugitives that have been called to be presented in a court of law and then to possibly be deported. They didn't show up. And they have exhausted all their possibilities by years and years of different hearings and whatnot. And by the way, most of those deportation orders are from the Biden era anyway. That's so right. It's not like Donald Trump came in and put all this.
Yeah, you had all these deportation retainers, right? And ICE was not allowed to execute them. Can you imagine that? I mean,
crazy.
That's crazy.
But now they are. But then going back to your original question, the way we did it, and one thing we have to understand is that we are the Hispanic community in the United States. We are so diverse.
Yep.
We have Mexican Americans, we have Cubans, we have Puerto Ricans, we have the Central and South American ones, Peruvians, all the groups that you may think. I mean, we all think different. We all have different backgrounds. So in order to win the Latino vote, we have to, first of all, unite that whole effort. And the way to unite them is by talking about the things that we all care for. The American things, the economy, the big family traditions, the ethics of going out there and working for yourself and opening up a business or whatnot. Those are the values that we all share. So when I talk to the people making the decisions on how to reach out to Latinos, I always say, look, do it that way. But then the way you deliver the message,
and the Mexican American community represents about 62 or 63% of all Hispanics in the country, right? So it's the largest community.
Absolutely. So the Mexican American is the largest one, yep. and because of that, you have to have a different way of delivering the message. The message may be the same, but you have to choose different ways to deliver that message. So we did that here in Nevada. And in Arizona, which, most of the population in Nevada and Arizona are Mexican American when it comes to the Latino community. Yeah. And we did that. But we also did this. We went to the churches because we form an organization called the American Christian Caucus to mobilize churches and the and Christians, Latinos. And we also went to the Catholic Church and we talked to Catholics and to evangelicals about the things that we agree upon. And we mobilized Latinos like there's no business. We were doing new voter registration, changing registrations. We got the Latino vote involved, and that's what we did. We went to where the community is, and I'm very proud of that. I will do it again, and we need to double down on that because I believe, like you said, we can now get not 40%, not 45 or 46, but we can get 55 to 60% of the vote because we, the America First movement is for Latinos as well.
Hey, so quick question on that, and this is very key because we've talked about this during in the past, after the midterms, after 2022, we heard rumbling that the Hispanic vote is moving, and we've been talking about this for a while, for years, right?
Yes.
But we heard that it's really moving. There's a real shift happening, and we said, hey, Jesus, I'm hearing that the blue wall is also shifting. Yeah. The Mexican Americans are shifting to Trump. Is that true? And you're like, Ivan, it's true. It's happening. It's happening. And that surprised a lot of people, but that made a huge difference because they represent such a big chunk. Why do you think the Mexican Americans moved so much when they were so locked in on the Democrats for decades and forever? They would die. They would take a bullet. They would fall on the sword for the Democratic Party. What changed?
Well, one of the main things that changed is this. When you look at the different groups of Hispanic Latinos in America, you have, I say that the top two groups that are that have been here the longest, that are now, getting more adapted to the American way, and becoming groups that love America and that see illegal immigration as what it is the Cuban Americans and now the Mexican Americans. So when we go and talk to Latinos of Mexican descent here in the Southwest, we talk about, look, you want, what do you want for your family? The best, right? Put food on the table. Look at what the way it costs. The cost of living is to the roof. Then on top of that, education. School choice is a big one. When we went and talked to Latinos about school choice, they agree. 87% of Latinos agree that we support a school choice. The ability for a parent to choose where his child goes to school, or what kind of education, what kind of curriculum, all those things, where the money or the funding follows the student and not the other way around. So those are the things that matter. And also crime. When you look at crime that went up with all these open border policies that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had in place in the last 4 years, and it's affecting Latinos because, be honest, those criminals that are coming in, they're not going to go live in the Hamptons. They're not going to go live in the areas that the rich people live. They're going to go live in the Latino community. That's where they're living. That's where they're going to be causing the terror among the population. So when we talk about those specific issues, the Mexican American Latino community and all the other communities, they understood that, and we just had to deliver that message. And by the way, when it comes to grassroots operations, we did the best. We went and knocked on the doors. We did phone calls. We actually started using the same techniques that the Democrats were using here in Nevada, which was to use the mail-in ballots, universal mail-in ballots to our advantage. And we did also ballot harvesting, which is legal. Yeah. We went and picked up ballots. We did that through an operation that we have never done in the past, and we did it this time.
That's amazing, man, and I'm glad you guys did that. In the past, there was never that type of movement, that type of organization. I used to, you remember, I've criticized our party many times publicly that, what does the RNC do for Hispanic outreach? They produce a 30-second video, put it on YouTube, then they come out with a mailer that says, why am I American in English and on the other side in Spanish? And like, dude, you expect we're gonna fucking win this way? No, we need to put bodies on the ground. Democrats are pounding people, churches, everything. I told you a story back in 2008, after 2008, 2009. I was at a barbecue in Miami, actually, at some friends' home. They were from Nicaragua, and they're big time, pro, Republican. They're big time pro life, very Christian family. And the cousin comes over and he goes, "Oh man, this guy's a freaking Obama lover and all this stuff." I never understood this guy. And he comes over and he's like, "Hey, like super happy." And we're like, "Oh, no. We voted for McCain, dude. We're not happy." And he goes, "How can you vote for McCain? And, Obama. And his cousin goes, "Do you know what I don't get is you're the biggest pro-life, you're super Christian, and you voted for the guy who is the most pro-abortion president ever to be elected. He's the abortionist in chief." And he goes, "That's a lie. That's a lie." He goes, "They told us that that's the lie that you guys were going to use." And we're like, wait, what? Who told you? Well, the Democrats, they came to our churches and said that Republicans are going to spread all these lies, that Obama is not pro-life, he's not pro-traditional marriage, and it's all a lie. They're trying to do it so we vote against Obama. And he goes, "And I'm glad we didn't believe him." And we said, "Well, too bad, because you just screwed the country, and you're going to find out very shortly how pro-life he is." And, and in fact, we found out, right? Eliminating DOMA and, everything else that's out there on Obama. But it's pretty pathetic. But I'm glad you guys did that. I know you spent an entire week in D.C. for the balls, the galas, the inaugural. We were going to go. We had tickets, pretty good tickets, actually. And we looked at the weather.
Yeah.
I remember when Trump won, I told David, my son, I said, "Hey, take a look at a forecast and see how cold it's going to be in D.C." And he goes, "There's not going to be a forecast this out." And I said, "There will be." And it said, it's going to be in the low 20s or something like that. And I said, "Man, low 20s. And remember last time you got to hike because the whole city's blocked off, so there's only a few entrances. So you got to hike, like 5 miles or whatever, or 10 miles or whatever it is in the freezing cold." I said, I'm not doing that, So, we waited and waited and waited. And as we got closer and closer, it said, it's going to be like in the single digits. I said, "We're not going. Wow. There's no way." And I gave my tickets away. And lo and behold, they canceled the whole thing. So I'm really glad we never bought airline tickets, or, we don't need a place to stay in D.C. But I know a lot of people that went, and, I don't know. Were you disappointed?
You know what? I actually got into DC early since Thursday, the week before, and so we didn't learn about the change in plans when they canceled the outdoor ceremony until Saturday morning, I believe it was. So we were already there. We had the tickets, but I do know of a lot of people that actually didn't cancel at the last minute. But we were there, and you know what? It was disappointed, but at the same time, I was happy because there was alternative. You mentioned we went to different balls, and I got to meet a lot of the good people that I know that I haven't seen in some months. And the whole atmosphere, when we're all there, was we're back.
Yeah.
We're back in D.C.
Yeah.
We're back in the White House, and that's the truth. So that was a narrative. That was a celebration, so to speak. And then at the end, even though we were not able to go to the outdoor ceremony for the inauguration, we were able to be at the arena where Donald Trump showed up, and it was about 25,000 people that came into that arena. I was fortunate enough to be in there, and we got a good presentation.
I'm going to tell you something. I grew up in D.C., so I've been privy to all this stuff my whole life, but the best and the most fun inaugural I've ever seen was this one. Yeah. And I was saying, you know what? They should never do it outside again. They should do it in an arena. The atmosphere, the aura, the emotion, the you could feel the energy, couldn't you? I mean, it was fascinating, man.
It was fascinating. It was a show because the actual parade was done. The official parade was done inside the arena. So we had a show. We had the big screens watching the actual ceremony. But then again, the in-person show was great. And then Donald Trump and his whole family and his cabinet, they all showed up.
Yeah.
We had Elon Musk speak from there.
Yeah.
I mean, Kash Patel, all these people, they came and spoke from there, and it was great. You're absolutely right. We had bathroom. We can go to the bathroom, go get some food. Usually,
Right.
this, when you're
Yeah.
in the actual celebration, it's hard to do all those things, and
Yeah.
you're freezing. But
Yeah.
here it was great.
That's fantastic, man. And what about the galas? Seems like you guys had a blast over there, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially one of I was at the one of the Latino galas,
Yeah.
and it was great.
There was two of them, I think, right?
I'm sorry.
There were two Hispanic Latino galas,
There
right?
was two of them. Yeah, there was two. One organized by the Bienvenido group, and then the other one was from the Hispanic 100.
Yep.
I went to the Hispanic 100, and and that was on Sunday, and then Saturday, which was the Bienvenido one, I couldn't go because I was at the Analyst gala, the American First Policy Institute, which by the way, American First Policy Institute is becoming a very influential organization.
Yeah.
About eight, if I'm not mistaken, 8 of the President Donald Trump's cabinet members come from that organization, so they're huge, and it was a great ball and great gala.
Yeah. It was fascinating. So, so it looks like Pam Bondi's going to get through.
Yeah.
Pam is awesome. It looks like RFK. We'll see. He's probably going to make it through. He got past committee today, so let's see if Thune can whip the votes and get them past the Senate. As a whole. Hopefully that happens. But Hegseth. I mean, everybody's been. Everybody's gotten through. So it looks very, very good. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Tulsi.
The order is to pass them through. Yeah, but you're right.
Let's see what happens with Tulsi. It seems like she will. Collins came out yesterday saying she's going to support Tulsi, so that's a good thing. If McConnell and what's her name? I always forget her name. Alaska. Jesus. Anyways, the senator for Alaska, if she votes against it, we still pass, so it'll still work out. But Murkowski, that's right, Murkowski. Thank you, Mr. Producer. And you feel that we live in a different world today than we did before the election, don't you?
Yeah.
Like the whole cancel culture, the whole woke bullshit.
It's like it's over.
It's over, right? It feels like it's dead. It's done. You don't hear anybody talking about that stupid shit anymore, except for a couple moonbats that are out there, running around, with their hair on fire. But they're very, very few.
Yeah.
Very, very few. And I think once Cash gets confirmed,
oh yeah,
dude, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at the FBI. The FBI is a disaster. Ratcliffe at the CIA, I'm assuming, is cleaning house. And once Pam gets into DOJ, I mean, it's not going to be overnight, but, there's going to be a lot of cleaning. You saw what's going on at USAID. We found out yesterday that USAID, because some California member of Congress, some guy, I think it was like Robert Garcia or something like that, he's a Peruvian American. He lobbied for USAID to pay $32,000 in a comic book to propagate throughout the country of Peru promoting LGBTQ.
Can you believe that?
That's USAID money. That's taxpayer money. And just like that, there's so many other things. So I'm glad they're shutting it down. It should be shut down completely. It sounds like Marco is going to just absorb it into state and get rid of a whole bunch of people. So that's a plus. I mean, USAID is damaging to U.S. agenda worldwide.
Absolutely. Not just that, but USAID, they don't have, before now, they didn't have a mechanism to verify where's all this money going to. $50 million to buy condoms in Gaza? Really? Come on, so they can go and rape people over there. I mean, that's because that's, by the way, that's what they did to the Israelis, right? Yeah. I mean, it is ridiculous that we're funding all these operations across the world. I'm sorry, and we need to have accountability. And no, it's not just accountability. We need to stop. We need to cut those monies that are going out. Period.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and I think the USAID is probably step number one. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more gutting that's going to happen at that State Department, because State Department is just it's a cancer. They have so much social agenda versus real U.S. policy. And I think Marco's going to clean that up. I think he's, he's been, chair of the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee for a long time. He gets it. He understands it. He understands the threat of China. And talking about China, I mean, dude, Mexico and Canada, how they buckled within hours after trying to grandstand, over the weekend and play tough, and then all of a sudden they're calling Trump 17 times a day trying to cut a deal and get a breather, and it's just ridiculous, man.
And Trump knew this. Trump knew this. That's why he did it. He's not just acting, sporadically here. He's not being dumb. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that America holds the power here. When you have a deficit of almost $300 billion a year with Mexico and $200 billion with Canada, and not just that, but they sell us more than what we sell them. But what they sell us, if you go more into depth, you find out that the stuff that they sell is not really that important. But what we sell them is actually things that they need, like for example, food. They actually need the corn in Mexico. That's the main food that they have in Mexico is corn, and they need our corn. And then Canada, they sell us gas and oil, but then we sell them fuel, liquid gas. So this is the things that we have to take into advantage and say, well, look, we have a deficit with them, and plus they need us, so why not just fix the situation? And by the way, while you're at it, control the border and control the fentanyl coming through your country, and it's done. It's a done deal.
And that's really a big thing, right? Is the border situation. On both sides, people are like, oh, well, he wants to start a trade war. Well, it's not really a trade war. Yeah. It's border control, right? It's how do you control the border?
Hey, get this. Turns out the whole Gaza thing wasn't referring to the Gaza Strip. It's referring to like a province in Mozambique.
What?
Yeah, there's a province in Mozambique that's called Gaza, and that's what that condom program is about.
Holy shit! Okay, so there we go. So it's a province in Mozambique in Africa. And that's where the $50 million in condoms is going, not to the Gaza Strip. So that's insane. They're probably going to claim it's to prevent HIV or whatever, but whatever, bro. I mean,
it's just so much money. It's hard to keep track of.
Nobody's spending $50 million in condoms. They're spending $10, and they're pocketing the $49 million. That's what they're doing.
$2 million. I got part of the list here. $2 million for sex change for LGBT activists in Guatemala.
Oh my God!
It's incredible. It's incredible the money that is going out that we pay while we're neglecting our own people.
Yeah.
So that's what America First is all about. America First is about taking care of us, America first, and then any other country. And not even if then, like for example, I don't know if you heard about this too, but apparently we funded with the Ukraine war with $170 billion, but they're saying that they only got $70 billion. So where's the other 100?
Right. They can't account for it. They don't know where it is. Well, they're saying they never received it.
That's worse.
So, where'd it go? So going to that point, I mean, great lead statement there. What is the future of the Democratic Party? You saw they elected, Martin O'Malley, right?
Yeah.
Martin O'Malley is a former governor of the People's Republic of Maryland. A very blue, hyper socialist, almost a communist state in the country. It's insane. He was he put in place something called the rain tax. The rain tax.
Yeah.
So
tax water.
So the more land you have, the more rain lands on your property. You have to pay tax on. I mean, it was insane, dude.
You believe that? And I remember this, because Obama made it big too back when he was in office. They're taxing the water that comes from above, the water that God sends you, and your little piece of land or big piece of land, whatever it is, you're being taxed by it. You don't own it.
Right.
Really? You don't own anything. So what are you that? And that's what they do in communist countries.
Yeah.
You don't own anything.
Right. It's amazing. So what's going to happen with the Dems? I mean, you saw they asked, who believes that Kamala Harris lost because of misogyny and racism? Everybody raised their hand.
Yeah.
So they're still double and tripling down on this woke gender identity, race identity. They're not giving up. They've just been knocked out, but they're not giving up. They're not going to quit. So they're going to continue with this crap.
But that's good for us because they
if we can capitalize on it. If we can capitalize on it.
Absolutely. You're right. If we capitalize on them, what happened after the next days after they lost, I went on a lot of interviews in media across the country. And one of the narrative was that Latinos, especially Latino men, voted for Trump because they were voting against a woman because they were too machistas. Yeah. And that's just ridiculous. Yeah. They cannot, believe that Latinos were fed up with the Socialist Party and they went the other way. So if they continue this path, they're going to continue to lose. They couldn't even figure out the way to present the people when they were talking about all these genders. I don't know if you saw that too, but at this convention, it was just ridiculous the way they portray themselves. They're just people filled with wokenism and with stupidity. Period.
Yeah, it's plain stupidity. I mean, that's as simple as you can go. I mean, there's no common sense behind it. But you know what? I'm concerned because Democrats, unite and they have a very well-oiled machine. And outside of this election, we really don't. Thanks to the work that people like you did around the country, we came together. I think Elon Musk really saved the election. Yeah. If he had not bought Twitter and turned it into X, I think none of this would have happened because all the lies and all of that was exposed. Everything was exposed thanks to Elon Musk. And I think that opened everybody's eyes to what was really going on. But if that didn't happen, it would have been really, really hard for Trump to win again. I still think he probably would have won. It probably would have been very tight, but I think
you're right.
I think Musk changed the election.
Yeah, no, and aside from him, Elon Musk buying X or Twitter and then making it into X, he also put a lot of money. He invested a lot of money on the ground operations. So his PAC actually went out there and knocked on millions of dollars, and that was just a key element in this whole victory thing.
Well, I think he put $25 million a month for the last 3 months. And on top of that, in Pennsylvania, he raffled $1 million a day for voter registration.
Yep.
And that was huge, man. Can you imagine? That's $105 million.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? The Democrats were complaining about this, but they actually done something similar. They were the ones who invented this type of out of the box procedures.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump had a great ally in Elon Musk, and it helped. You're absolutely right. I don't think we would have won, or maybe we would have been a little bit too close to be called. And remember, when it was too close to be called, there was also the possibility of them cheating again.
Yeah, it was all the fraud that happened in 2020.
Win big, you have to win big. That's what the whole strategy was based on winning big.
Yep. And it worked, and it worked, thank God. I mean, geez, the numbers were astronomical. And when you add them up, you're like, so what happened to the 81 million people that voted for Biden hiding in a basement?
Yeah.
Where are they, right? And, everybody knows it was a
81
sham.
81 million, really?
It was a sham. It was such a rip-off and scam. It was disgusting. And I hope they Pam digs into that and finds out what really happened, because I think some people need to go to prison. I'm very happy that Trump revoked the security clearance for those 51 intelligence, people.
So they don't go and tamper with evidence.
Yeah, that said, this is Russian interference. The Hunter laptop is bullshit. Man, that's election interference, and there needs to be a cost and a penalty for that. So we'll see what happens. So what's next for you Jesus?
Good question. There's different things that I may be doing. One thing I know for sure that I'm going to be involved. I'm going to continue to be involved. You mentioned earlier about how Democrats. One of the reasons why Democrats still win elections, even though they're gone too crazy, to the left. Communists. They're communists. They're woke. They're plain stupid in their ideas. But they're really good on the ground. They're really good in mobilizing voters and uniting. So we learn from that. Republicans and conservatives like myself, we learn from that, and we are using their same tactics on the ground. And that's what we're doing. So we have an operation here in Nevada that we will continue to maintain, continuing the voter registration drives, for example. We will continue knocking on doors. We will be involved with the state's legislature, not just in Nevada, but also in Arizona and Pennsylvania, to use that, not just to mobilize the vote, but also to achieve good laws in those states. So, for example, here in Nevada, there's a ballot initiative that is coming up in the next election cycle that is going to put basically abortion to be legal up to the day of birth.
Wow.
I mean, that's just crazy. And not just that, but it's going to allow for minor girls to commit abortion from school without even telling their parents. So we want to change that. We need to stop that, and that is also something that's going to continue to fuel the Latino community to be involved. And so we're planning on that. Now, however, aside from that, I was asked, are you going to be going to the administration and working there? That
was my question. Yep.
There's some opportunities there for me. However, it's hard because I have children that don't want to move to DC. So
I don't blame them, by the way. It's not the same place it was when I grew up. It's not. It's definitely not.
It's not the same place. You're right. But I got a teenager in high school, and I have another one that's coming into junior high right now. So they're like, oh, we have our friends, our school. But hey, if the calling is there to serve my country, I will probably definitely consider it. But so far, I'm working on this project that I have with the American Christian Caucus here in Nevada, and we're going to move into Arizona and Pennsylvania soon. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, those are the things that are coming up my way. But we will be in the game for sure.
That's fantastic. What about are we going to get to see Spanish Rush back on the airways?
You know what? That's the main thing that I really would like to do, because that's that's my thing. You mentioned right now the Rush Limbo in Spanish. That's pretty much what I did.
Spanish Rush, man. That's how everybody do you, right? Spanish Rush, and you love to play with the calls, and you love taking phone calls and interacting with your audience. And
I was debated on the air, against and that's what I do. I do good, and hey, your organization was a big part of it. So hopefully we'll be back on the air soon.
I believe so. I believe something's going to happen. So we're going to get Spanish Rush back, huh? We're going to get you behind the microphone, headsets, debating and arguing with the crowd again, huh?
Yes, that's my what I do the best, and I think I want.
And you enjoy it, it too. So it's a lot of fun. Hey, Jesus, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's always a pleasure. Where can people follow you? We have your X handle on there. Where else are you active? Where can they find out what you're doing and keep up with you?
They can find me on X. You said it's right there at Marquez Jessel, but also they can find me on Instagram and on Facebook. Instagram will be Jesus Marquez 5755, and Jesus, and on Facebook it would just be Jesus Marquez. You can find me in one of those, and I'm very active. Fantastic, man. Well, you definitely are, and again, thanks for all the work you did. Thanks for helping save America and making America great again. And if you join the administration, I do have to warn you, see if you can do it remotely. You do not want to live in the D.C. area. That place is despicable. It is full of sick and nasty and demented people that need more psychiatrists and less politics. And, and we probably need 12 years to clean that place out. 4 with Trump and 8 with Vance, and I think it'd be a safe place to go back to. But right now, I would have to advise you to stay in Nevada.
Vegas is beautiful. You guys have done a great job. You've turned it red. I think you might want to stay there and turn it even redder. So thank you very much, Jesus. You're the man. You're a stud. You're always welcome on the show, man.
Thank you very much. And yes, we are working on making it redder. So God bless.
Excellent, man. Take care. Awesome, guys. I hope everybody had a good time today. Jesus Marquez is a stud. He's one of the, like you heard him, man. He's been involved for a long time. He's, Spanish Rush when he was on the air with his radio show. I know he's fighting to come back and get a radio show again and nationwide. And I believe that's probably going to happen soon. So we're pretty excited, looking forward to seeing more of Jesus and bringing people like him that can explain, the truth and the reality of the Hispanic community in the United States. It's not monolithic. It's not, like the African-American community or others. They're, like you said, there's Mexicans, Colombians, Chileans, Cubans, Argentinians, et cetera. And everybody's different. And there are rivalries between, some of these countries as well. So in these communities, that rivalry continues. So it's not that easy. And, you have to be able to speak to each community individually in a way they understand. And like you said, with the shared values was the way we won this thing, because everybody shares those values, pro-family, small government, pro-God, pro-country, smaller government, get out of my way. Everybody's more entrepreneurial than an employee, and things like that work, right? So, people like Jesus are going to continue to fight for this. We're going to continue to bring on the air and bring people like that. The rest of the week, we have a great show. We're going to be talking a lot of different things. We're going back to the deep state, and we're going to be talking about what's happening in some of these agencies. So make sure you don't miss it, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time.